Welcome back guys, we've got episode 23 of the top 10 setups of the day series. Before we get started, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel to see more of these amazing setups. Today's first setup comes from Zorobide 1337 and is actually in a van. That especially large monitor appears to be an Alienware AW3420DW monitor, and just goes to show that being in a small area doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to skimp on the monitor size. Below the monitor you can also see a Logitech mouse on a Corsair mousepad, as well as a Razer wrist rest attached to what might be a Razer keyboard. Whilst I'm very impressed by the ability to fit such a decently large setup into a small van, this setup definitely needs some cleaning, and more than anything it needs some cable management to cut down on the clutter. Up next in this amazing bedroom setup comes from Daddy Snake Whipping. Their build is super sleek with that stunning Alienware AW3418DW monitor and the much smaller 7-inch Sunfounder monitor below it. If you look below the monitor, you'll notice a very fancy Logitech G915 keyboard that I'm sure most of you are pretty jealous of. They've also got a very comfortable Secret Lab Omega chair, and for a desk we've got the iconic Calby desktop resting on Alex drawers. This whole room is put together really nicely, and the shelves and cubbies on the wall make the whole area seem super cozy and like an amazing area to game or work in. Next on our list we've got this setup from UserDev Argar, who is an emergency vehicle technician. Clearly the OP likes to listen to music whilst they work with their JBL Boombox One and a pair of Skull Candy Crusher headphones. For their actual setup you've got an Acer monitor and a Dell laptop, as well as a Red Dragon keyboard and mouse, which is a brand that we don't get to see too often. The RGB in this workbench looks absolutely phenomenal and is accented really well by the wallpaper on the monitor and laptop. This is a work setup that I think anybody would be jealous of. This setup from Britoba shows a creative way to separate work and play by making two different setups and separate them by a custom black slate wall. The desk on this side is using a slab of wood on an uplift desk frame, which leads to a very unique and industrial looking combination. On the desk you can spot a fully Jarvis monitor, a ROG Strix TKL keyboard, and a PC with an NZXT H510 case. Next to the desk is the instantly recognisable Herman Miller M-body chair, which is always an impressive chair to see. Not only do I love the uniqueness of the mini wall in this setup, but I'm also a huge fan of the LED light running along the bottom of the wall instead of the top. This setup from user Dan Rue is probably the cleanest minimalistic setup that we've featured on this channel. Their display is made up of two Pixio 275Hz monitors, both of which are mounted with the Vivo dual monitor mount. For their peripherals they're using a Royal K-Ludge RK68 keyboard and a Ponaged Ultra Extra Symmetrical mouse. Their PC is a Cooler Master NR200 case that's housing a Ryzen 7 5800X CPU, an RTX 3070 FE GTX, an NH U12A cooler, an X570 Asus Pro motherboard, and a Corsair SF750 80 Plus Platinum PSU. All of this gear is sitting on a desk made up of the Birch Calby desktop and the Beckhand legs from IKEA. At the halfway point in our list today, we've got this super sleek setup from I Love Nippolus. They're using a glass desk, which is a choice that we don't normally see, but honestly it makes the setup seem super elevated and expensive, which is a plus. On the desk you can see a Samsung G9 monitor on the bottom of that dual monitor setup, and an Asus ROG monitor on the top. On the right is OP's PC, which features an i9 9900K CPU, a Gigabyte Z390 Aorus Ultra motherboard, an EVGA FTW3 Ultra 2080 Ti with 11GB of GPU, and a Corsair H150i Pro cooler, all tucked inside a Lian Li O11D XLX case. The LEDs and decorations for this setup are on point, but I would definitely be interested in seeing an upgrade to the ambient lighting around the room. Our next setup comes to us from Floopyboy, who's got one of the best wallpapers that we've seen on this channel. Their setup is fairly simple and minimalistic, with just a simple monitor build, a Ducky 1-2 keyboard, a Razer mouse and a SteelSeries mousepad. Their desk itself is also fairly simple just consisting of an IKEA desktop resting on some white Alex drawers. This setup really shines when it comes to their decorations, which consist of a very cute plant and a variety of anime posters, all of which add a nice pop of colour to the overwhelmingly white setup. Up next we've got this setup from Carrot Cake Black, which is a very minimalistic but this time with a much darker colour scheme. Their singular monitor is a Dell U2790 monitor with a BenQ screen bar that's been mounted to a VOO single monitor arm, and it looks fantastic with the backlighting around the desk. On the gorgeous dark wood desk we've got a KBD Fans Pebble keyboard on a Sour X Canon Keys Wave desk mat, whose weaving pattern adds a nice but different sort of variety to the whole build. On either side of the monitors you'll also notice a set of stylish Logitech MX Sound speakers. I love the contrast of how dark this setup is compared to most, but I think I'd be the tiniest little bit worried about the dark room and the bright monitor causing a little bit too much eye strain. Here we've got another dark setup, this time with a much more cozy vibe from user AZ Visuals. This ultra-wide monitor is a Viotech GN34CB with a BenQ screen bar, and the secondary monitor is a Dell U2720Q, both of which are mounted to a Vivo dual monitor desk mount. The matching dark peripherals include a CM Master Keys Pro S keyboard, a Utuxia wrist rest, and a Razer Basilisk Ultimate mouse. The desk is made of a unique combination of an IKEA cement look countertop on some Windesk sit stand legs. I'm a huge fan of the dark look for this setup, whilst also having a pop of colour from the BenQ screen light and the orange LEDs on the side. For our last setup we've got one of the most beautiful uses of RGB that we've ever seen, courtesy of this amazing setup from a legal rockstar. That awesome L-shaped desk is made from a Linmon desk resting on Alex drawers from IKEA. On the desk you'll spot an Asus ROG laptop in a Sim Cyclone laptop cooler that's connected to that AOC C27G1 curved monitor. Their peripherals include a HyperX Ally Origins keyboard with Pudding's keycaps and the Logitech G502 wireless mouse on an IceTech XXL mousepad. They also have a super futuristic looking Titan Wolf 3-in-1 headphone stand that's holding a pair of Logitech G733 headphones. All in all, this is a truly gorgeous and stunning build. And that is the end of today's list. Check out the description for a list of a lot of the gear that I've mentioned in the video. If you want to see more of these incredible setups, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss the next episode. Leave a comment down below on which setup you think should have been number 1.